Alrighty, sorry about that. We have seemed to be able to have fixed the issue. It looks like for some reason OBS lost all the sound devices. So let's get back to it. Looks like IMTJ has retired, as has Wolf, King Alpha, and Crispy Crunch. I believe they all have retired in the pit lane, so I would imagine they do not believe that they can go much faster than that. Qualitali is currently on a lap, has just completed one for a 1:04.7. So that was not a bad lap, putting him in 4th place. So as things stand, we have the Mighty Gox up in 1st place with a 1:03.182, not a bad lap at all. Sebi with a 1:04.241. IMTJ sitting with 1:04.323. Qualitali 1:04.764, and Griever 1:05.308. Those are the top 5, separated by not too much. Only a second and a half separating those top 5. Beyond that, we have Griever 2 seconds behind, Wolf almost 3 seconds, King Alpha 3.5, D2A1 only 29 thousandths of a second behind King Alpha, and then finally Crispy Crunch in last place with a time of 1:10.698. Not a great lap, but looks like they may be all accepting where they have ended up, except for D2A1 trying to go quicker, does manage to go quicker up to 7th position, the 1:05.691. Seems like everything is trying to kill me today. Alrighty, so let's see what the last 3 that haven't retired do, whether they keep going round or whether they retire early so that they can finish this session and go on to Quali 2 and finally Quali 3. Qualitali has now retired from the session, so it looks like that appears to be the agreement, and I'm sure Sebi and D2A1 will do the same soon. And there it is, D2A1 has done it now, only Sebi remaining. So as we wait for Sebi to retire, just gonna mute for a second. Alrighty, thanks for the patience. And we are still waiting for Sebi to retire. I do have a little bit more information on the laps. Mighty Gox's lap, that 103.183, involved the fastest three sectors. Sector 1 was a 15.877, Sector 2 a 28.338, and Sector 3 was an 18.966. As a comparison, the second fastest third sector there was a 19.33 set by Jarvis. Next best second sector was a 28.637 set by IMTJ, and first sector, second best first sector, was a 16.059 set by Sebi himself. So that was, just shows how much of a run Sebi, the Mighty Gox, actually put in there. Incredible run on that lap. Very short lap here at Austria. So let's see what they can do in the second session, whether the track has rubbered in at all. I'm sure we're all looking forward to seeing them head around again. Alrighty, so here we are for the second session of this qualification, this full quali. Let's see what the guys can do. Sounds like a couple of cars have started up. So those two Haas's placed quite nicely towards the end of the pit lane and getting out ahead of the Renault, who actually came out first. So let's follow them around. D2A1 first onto the track. Clouds have rolled in, and I'm sure that is going to be great for the soft tire runners. Not so good for anyone who's going to be trying to put a lap together on those mediums, as obviously it will be a little bit more difficult to get those tires into the window. Alrighty, so D2A1 heads towards the start-finish line. He crosses the line and up towards turn 1, carrying a lot of speed towards it. Brakes hard as he goes around that corner, takes a lot of speed up that hill, so let's see what he can do. There is a Renault right behind him. Not sure, that Renault doesn't look like it's on a hot lap, so that will give him time to think as he goes into the turn 3. Gets around there, carries a decent amount of speed, not too much wheel spin on the exit. Off he goes towards turn 4, in the DRS zone, obviously the DRS wide open. Gets into turn 4, hard braking zone, down to second gear. Push it on the exit, looks like he may have been a little bit wide there, but that's not too bad an exit. Gets into the double left-hander. Down the hill, stays far away from the curb on the outside. Doesn't take too much curb on the inside on the left, but does take a fair amount on the right. Heads down towards turns 9 and 10. Throws the car into that corner, takes a lot of curb on the outside, cuts the curb on the inside, manages to keep it within track limits. Already out of ERS at the end of that lap with 1:05.406. So that is our first lap on the board. IMTJ is next across the line with a 1:04.542. Flurry of activity now as people get their laps completed. So as it stands, IMTJ sitting at the top with a 1:04.542. Mighty Gox 1:05.247. D2A1 was in third place, now in fourth with a 105.406. Quality Alp with a 105.378 in third place. Griever 106.365 in fifth place. Still have Wolf, King Alpha, and Crunchy out on track. Looks like Jarvis has had a moment out of turn 1 and may have retired due to that. He has not set a lap time from what I can tell, is on those medium tires. I wonder if the game will accept that as obviously him being on the medium tires at the start of the race. King Alpha across the line next with 127.357. I don't know if that was actually a fast lap or if that was maybe a second prep lap on those medium tires. So let's follow him around again as he goes up the hill towards turn 3 with DRS wide open, slams it closed, slams on brakes. Quite a slow corner, no wheel spin, no audible wheel spin on the exit there. Heading down towards turn 4. DRS slams shut as he goes through turn 4. That looks like a good line through there. Into the double left-hander of 6 and 7. Takes a lot of curb on the outside, on the exit of 6, entrance of 7. Cuts the curb on the inside of 8 over there. There was a good line through there. Into 9 and 10. Doesn't use too much of the curb on the inside of 9. Uses a lot of curb on the outside of 10 though. Let's see what he can do with this for that lap. 106.102. Definitely better than his first lap, but not enough to put him high up in the order. Finally, Crispy Crunch is the only other person out there that looks like they might be on a lap. Now he's on an out lap, so he should be gearing up to start his lap. Makes a decent line through there to get a good run at the start finish straight. Up the hill towards turn 1. Through that corner, taking a little bit of curb on the inside and unsetting the car a little bit. That will have lost him quite a bit of time there. So he goes up towards turn 3, slams on brakes. Misses the apex of turn 3, but that should allow him to get on the power a little bit earlier. So that may have been intentional. Down towards turn 4. Gets onto the curving to give himself a better angle into the corner. Up he goes towards turn 6. This is obviously the double left-hander, lots of curb on the outside there. Using a lot of the curves in general, Crispy Crunch is not necessarily the bad thing. But it looks like he's going to come into the pits this lap rather than completing it. He was obviously not happy with this lap. He did get an invalidation, I see now. That's probably why he wasn't entirely happy with the lap. It looks like the rain is coming as well as the first couple of spots appear on the camera's lens. I'm sure he would have been struggling a little bit with that. There's slick tires, just aquaplane for nothing. So that brings that session probably to an end as Crispy Crunch is wheeled back into, or pushed back into his garage. They'll probably end that session, go into the third session and push and use that session to actually set the final positions for the start. There's the end of that session. So at the end of that session, we have IMTJ on the mediums on a 104.542, Mighty Gox on a 105.247, also on the mediums, and Qualitali Alp also on the mediums with 105.378. Only person on the softs in the top 5 is D2A1. So let's see what happens at the race start, who gets put on what tires, as quite a few people didn't complete a lap. Right, here we go into Q3, 12 minutes to set the starting grid. It looks like the rain has not come with us into this session, so it is overcast once again. Looks like the Renaults are trying to get out quite nice and early. The Haas's once again, or one of the Haas's has managed to get out before that Renault once again. D2A1 first onto the track with Wolf being behind him, followed by the two Alpha Tauris of the Mighty Gox and Griever. Gox having a little bit of a moment on the way out of the pit lane, but I'm sure he will warm up those tires and get a move on so that he does not hold his teammate up through the various corners. With how close they are, they might even be looking at possibly trying a tow. There are of course 3 very long straights here, and a good tow can very much help your qualification run. As DTA1 goes through turn 8, let's join him on board for this lap. He heads through turn 9, misses that apex on the inside, hits the apex on 10, which means he will be carrying a lot of speed through. On the start finish straight, pushes hard up towards turn 1, 100 meter braking. Goes a little wide there, but the game doesn't seem to have invalidated, so he will be pushing up the hill as if that didn't happen. Obviously he'll get the fastest first sector, that Red Bull getting nicely off the track there. Not quite all the way over to the left, which means he will have a little bit more of an acute angle through turn 3. But gets a good exit out of there, not too much wheel spin as he heads down towards turn 4. Just after the 100 meter board, gets it all the way across the right hand side onto that curb, misses the exit curb on turn 4, which is better as you avoid some wheel spin there. Lifts quite heavily there. 6th gear through 7 and 8. Let's see what he can do towards the end of this lap as he goes round turn 9. Again, not quite hitting that apex, but 10 gets nicely onto it. Takes a good chunk out of that apex, and let's see what he goes. He goes up to first, obviously, with 1:05.439. Not a terrible lap. Let's see what the others can do. Alpha Tauris look like they're coming across the line now. That's a 1:03.187. That is a blisteringly fast lap by Mighty Gox. Well done for putting it there. His teammate Griever with 1:05.198. So those are the 3 times on the board at the moment. King Alpha avoiding the traffic on his outlap. He will be starting his fast lap soon, I imagine, as those guys coming onto the start finish straight get out of the way. So King Alpha getting ready for his lap. Puts it onto the start finish straight and off he goes. Across the line, DRS wide open up towards turn 1. Brakes at about the 100 meter board, takes a lot of curb on the inside, a little bit of a the wheel spin on the exit. Manages to keep it together. DRS wide open up the hill, up towards turn 3. You can see the brakes glowing red hot there. So very hard braking zones in the first 3 real corners here. Down towards turn 4, which is the 3rd of them. Looks like he got a little bit wider than he may have wanted there, but let's see how he does through the double left-hander of 6 and 7. Doesn't hit the curb on the outside, may have taken a little bit of too wide on the entrance into A, though, through 7 and into 8. Lots of curb on the inside of 9, doesn't invalidate. Decent amount of curb on 10, not all the way to the outside of 10, however, on the exit, but it is enough to take him up to 4th with 1:04.836. So far we have Mighty Gox in first place with that 1:03.187. I am TJ in second place with a 1:03.826. Qualitele Alp third with a 104.443. King Alpha 104.836 and Jarvis 104.946. It is very strange to hear what King Alpha is doing. So beyond the top 5 we have Griever with a 105.046 and then D2A1 with a 105.439. Wolf and Crispy Crunch still yet to set a lap. To join Wolf heading towards turn 9, let's see what he can do on this lap. Definitely going for it. Good throw into turn 9. Decent line through 10. Takes a uses a lot of the track on the exit, which is exactly what you want to do when you're gearing up for a lap. Up towards turn 1. Doesn't take as much curve as you may have wanted to on the inside there, and gets a little squirrely on the exit. As he heads up towards turn 3, brakes nice and hard, hits the apex there, gets a decent looking exit out of there, not too much wheel spin, DRS open, heading towards turn 4. Round turn 4 he goes in 3rd gear, obviously trying to carry as much speed as possible through that corner. Can carry a lot of speed through pretty much all of these corners, as long as you've got the downforce for it. Little bit hesitant through through the left-hander of 7. Let's see what it can do as he comes through turn 9, 10, onto the pit straight. Goes a little wide on the exit, but obviously worked out with a 104.937. Puts him into 5th place, only a couple of thousandths ahead of Jarvis. Oh, we have the top 8 set already. Crispy Crunch, the last person to try and set a lap as he comes across the start-finish line now. Up through turn 1, manages to get a decent exit out of there, does not use too much curving on the outside. May have wanted to carry a little bit more speed through there. Let's see how he does through turn 3. Gets a lot of curve on the entrance, good amount of curve at the apex, and a healthy portion of curving on the outside as well. Heading down towards turn 4, gets all the way onto those curves. He is definitely looking to maximize the track limits. Little bit onto that curve on the exit of 4, which can cause a little bit of loss of traction, but doesn't look like it affected him too much. Through 6 and 7, that looks very much in control. Misses the apex a little bit on 7, but gets through 8 without too much of a problem. Heading down towards 9, touches the grass on the exit to entrance to 9 and invalidates his lap as he carries just a little bit too much speed through that corner. Looks like he might be trying to go again right away. Takes a good amount of curb on the inside of the apex of 1. Up through the kink of 2. There is that Red Bull is getting out of the way nicely. This definitely does look like another hot lap. Pushes it on the exit of 3 down towards 4. Yellow flags all over the track as people try and get out of each other's way. Crispy Crunch kind of has to make this one stick as he is locks up a little bit on the entrance of 6. Takes 7 very wide on the entrance. Doesn't invalidate his lap there. Let's see if he can get through 9 and 10 cleanly this time. Pushes his way through 9. And 10, definitely going to make it without track limits issues. Across the finish line, goes up to 5th with a 104.456. So close between him and Qualitali. And that is a spin coming through turn 1. But that shouldn't matter too much as that is probably the end of his running in this qualification session. So King Alpha trying to improve on that lap that we watched earlier. pushes his way up through the kink of 2. Crispy getting out of the way nicely there as King Alpha goes through turn 3. Didn't look entirely in control of the car there, had to wait a long time to get back onto the power. Into turn 4, hits at apex nicely, pushes hard on the exit, but again onto that curb, which will cause a little bit of lost traction. Goes through 6 and into 7, and he has invalidated his lap, unfortunately, on the entrance of 7. So let's see if he slows down, cools his tires a little bit, charges his battery. You can see him charging that battery there. Let's see what he can do on a second lap, if he's going to go for it. Looks like he is. Throws himself into 10. And off he goes once again. So as things stand, with less than a minute remaining, unfortunately that looks like the end of King Alpha's running. He bends it through turn 1. As IMTJ comes through turn 1, pushes up towards turn 3. He is in second, but I'm sure he will be looking at that first spot. Only that first spot, which has gotten better since the last we looked at it. That is a 102.852 by the Mighty Gox. IMTJ looking to chase it down. Only 6/10 of a second to try and find, but he's not going to find it by locking up like that. But I wonder if he is going to try and recharge his battery. Unfortunately, only 8 seconds remaining. This is it if he wants to do it. I do not think he's going to get much closer with that massive lockup there. So as the quali comes to an end, the Mighty Gox leads with a 102.852. IMTJ in second with whatever time this is going to lead to. Let's see as he comes across the line. A little bit quicker, 17 thousandths quicker with a 103.434. Qualitali AP is next to cross the line, coming through turn 9, turn 10. Uses a lot of curb on the inside, so let's see what he can do. He is not happy with that lap. Finishes with a 103.946 as his fastest time in third place. Jarvis in fourth with a 104.086. Griever currently coming into the pits with a 104.386, so that will leave him in fifth place. Crispy 104.456 in sixth place. Wolf with 104.669, but about to cross the line. Let's see what he can do. Does not go faster, so that will be his time and puts him in 7th. King Alpha in 8th, and D2A1 comes up with at the rear in 9th place. So Mighty Gox putting in a mighty lap there. I'm sure he'll be happy with that pole position. Alrighty, so as we wait for the final players to load, let's see how this start goes. 5 lights on. A long wait there, and off they go. It looks like they have gotten a fairly decent start. The Haas of IMTJ getting a little bit of a better start than Mighty Gox, but unfortunately does not get through that corner cleanly. That is the top two already out, and a lot going on in the background. Looks like Crispy Crunch may have also lost control and has taken out a couple of the others. Virtual safety car already as the McLarens get a little close to each other on the exit of turn 3. That is not a great start. Looks like D2A1 is trying to get his car back on the way. Looks like a lot of wing damage, but at least he is still managing to keep going forward. So at the end of the second straight, we have already had so much contact, and it has led to a completely jumbled up order. We have Jarvis running in first place, Qualitali Alp in second, Griever in third, King Alpha in fourth, Sebi in fifth, Wolf, IMTJ, Mighty Gox, Crispy Crunch, and D2A1 going up to 10th. Virtual safety car is now over, so everyone will be trying to put some space between them and the people behind. King Alpha has definitely made the most of that little restart. Qualitali going into the pit. Obviously he got a little bit of wing damage in his contact with his teammate. King Alpha chasing Griever down the pit straight. Through turn 1 he is still within 5/10 of his opponent and drops back a little bit as Griever gets a better exit out of turn 1, but that slipstream is strong up the hill here. Sector 3 yellow flag, that would be D2A1 trying to get into the pits with that damaged wing. We'll continue to watch King Alpha as he tries to chase down Griever with that slipstream. In the meantime, Sebi and IMTJ manage to swap positions. Sebi still very close behind him and will be looking to take advantage of any mistakes that IMTJ makes, as he does actually lock up into turn 4. However, IMTJ starts falling back from there. King Alpha still was managing to keep quite close to Griever, but through 6 and 7 he has lost quite a bit of time there. Closest battle on track is this one between IMTJ and King Alpha. Meanwhile, in the background, Mighty Gox has caught up very quickly to the back of Sebi through 9 and 10. Mighty Gox on that yellow marked medium tire, while Sebi is on the soft tires. Mighty Gox getting all the way to the inside line, gets across, easy pass on Sebi there, and he will be trying to chase down IMTJ. Obviously these guys were the guys that were out in front at the beginning. Unfortunately, after that initial contact, they are now having to fight their way through the field as IMTJ comes up to the back of King Alpha. That will probably be quite an easy pass, but King Alpha is making it difficult. But the move is done. Before turn 4, King Alpha makes a dive down the inside. That may have been a little late on the brakes there, but does manage to keep that position. IMTJ just backing off, obviously having to worry about Mighty Gox coming up behind him, and will want to try and get this move done as soon as possible. He's looking to do it into 9 this time. Let's see whether he manages to make it stick. King Alpha does fall behind onto the pit straight. Did they swap before the DRS? Yes, they did. So King Alpha now actually has DRS on IMTJ, but that doesn't seem to have helped too much as they go onto the second straight. Up the hill through 2 and towards 3. King Alpha is starting to fall behind a little bit. You can see that DRS is helping him keep up, but isn't enough to help him pass at this point. IMTJ getting a very good run through here. Coliseli now with the fastest lap with 1:06.973, but it is still early days, and that time will definitely start falling. IMTJ locking up into turn 4 once again. We've seen him do that a few times. Not sure if he's struggling with the dirty air from the car in front, or if that is maybe just him braking a little bit later than he otherwise should. He is now within 0.8 of a second of Griever, so he is hunting down that AlphaTauri as fast as he possibly can. Going into turn 9, after which is the DRS point, so definitely will get DRS, only under 0.6 behind gets a very good exit out of 10th as he gets DRS and pushes towards Griever. He will probably wait until either turns 3 or 4, which are the better passing zones. Still behind as he heads up the hill, but Mighty Gox is thinking of a move in the background on King Alpha. Gets past him quite easily. Let's see whether King Alpha goes for another dive down the inside with late braking, but no, not this time. So Mighty Gox onto that back straight, where TJ is trying to catch up to Griever. Does not get quite close enough, still 0.3 of a second behind. And I'm sure that'll frustrate him, as he has to spend another lap behind Griever with Mighty Gox, Griever's teammate, catching up behind him. You have to wonder if the Mighty Gox has actually asked Griever to hold TJ up a little bit, and whether he's dumping a lot of ERS to make that happen. So let's see how they do as they go onto the pit straight again. IMTJ still 0.3 behind, looks at the inside but does not go for it. A little bit of a dangerous overtaking move there if you do try it. Mighty Gox 1.3 seconds behind now as IMTJ gets to the right hand side of his opponent and does manage to get past him. Let's see how they break into turn 3. Both of them manage to make it through. Griever taking a slightly wider line and probably trying to get a slightly better exit, but does not manage. So now it is Mighty Gox and Griever behind each other. IMTJ in second, trying to hunt down Jarvis. But in the meantime, D2A1 has gone off through 6 and lost it. Unfortunately, that looks like his car has retired, and that has brought out the virtual safety car. Let's see who can take advantage of that delta, maybe catch some time. So let's see if we can see. It looks like coming through 6, D2A1 may have just caught a curb, possibly overcooked it on the exit and shot towards that inside barrier. Mighty Gox going for an early pit stop, obviously hoping to get it done before the virtual safety car is over, and that will give him a cheaper pit stop than his opponents might be able to get. Virtual safety car still out there. Mighty Gox is now still stationary. Still stationary. So Mighty Gox having a very long pit stop there. I wonder if he replaced his wing. It did look like there was a wing in the pit crew's hands there. He manages to get out just as the virtual safety car is ending, so that'll be a lot cheaper than it would otherwise have been, but it has put him back in 6th place, so he has a lot of ground to make up. In the meantime, Griever and IMTJ are separating themselves. IMTJ looks like he did maybe get a little bit of an advantage from that virtual safety car, and he'll be happy with that. Now he needs to try and hunt down Jarvis out in first, 2.5 seconds ahead. I'm sure he'll start pushing now. Jarvis keeping to himself for the most part since that early incident up in turn 3 with his teammate. Not setting the fastest laps, but definitely just keeping himself out there, trying to keep himself out of trouble. In the meantime, Mighty Gox is looking for trouble, as he's pulled up to the back of Sebi, under 0.3 going into turns 9 and 10, very close on the back of that gearbox. Does get what looks like a better exit despite the different tires. Pulls in front, maybe a little bit dangerously, especially so close to the braking zone. That could have caused Sebi to lose some traction, lose some downforce, but manages to get away with it as he now starts to hunt down King Alpha. In the meantime, Sebi has already dropped back a fair amount with Qualitelli and Sebi fighting it out through corner 3. A little bit of contact there. Qualitelli taking the position back once again as they head down towards turn 4. Did get the DRS there, so he was obviously a little bit behind. Wolf and Crispy Crunch trading places into turn 3 as well in the background. Jarvis now getting time penalty for track limits, so that will obviously make TJ quite happy as he is within that 3-second window. As long as he can keep it clean for the next 27 laps, he's not going to be able to do it like that, going across that curb a little bit too deep, and will probably have gotten a warning for that. So Mighty Gox now sets the fastest lap of the race with a 106.594. That obviously 4 seconds slower than their quali time, which just shows how much power those quali modes actually had back in 2020. And now I am TJ getting past Jarvis, and it looked like it may be Jarvis having a little bit of lag there as he actually phased through TJ and behind him there. I'm sure he will not be happy with that, but unfortunately such is the netcode of this game. I'm TJ now running in first. Jarvis close behind him, will get DRS onto the pit straight. Pushes close towards him, still 5/10 away, so will not be able to make a move into turn 1, but will probably be looking at turn 3 and 4, which are your better overtaking areas. 6/10 behind as he goes up the hill, but catching all the time. That DRS and slipstream very powerful here. 4/10 behind at turn 3. Let's see if he gets a decent exit. He does not get the greatest exit, and IMTJ does manage to make up some time on him, but that DRS is very definitely helping. Mighty Gox now gets a 3-second penalty for track limits as he tries to catch up to King Alpha, 8.7 seconds behind. There is now King Alpha himself actually has gone off, and Mighty Gox gets past him at turn 3. Jarvis once again still trying to keep up with IMTJ and managing to keep within that second DRS range, which I'm sure will be good for him as it will allow him to preserve his fuel a little bit, but I'm sure he will want to get past as those tires are going to take a little bit of a beating from following that Haas around for so many laps. A little bit squirrely on the exit, and that leads to a retirement for Jarvis. That is really unfortunate as he was catching really well or keeping up with TJ, and that is a full safety car. So now it becomes a game of keep the delta. So with the safety car, Qualitelli is the first to rush into the pits. Obviously with the safety car it's a much cheaper pit stop. Sebi next into the pits. Wolf goes past. Crunch is going into the pits as well. A little bit wide through 9 to actually go into the pits, but does pull himself back into it. 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. That is quite unfortunate there. So the back 3 have all pitted under the safety car, and they will probably, there it is, the hard tires, try and get to the end of the race. All 3 of the back 3 have pitted onto the hard tires. Wolf has also pitted onto the hard tires, so they will probably be going for the one stop. TJ now coming into the pits as well. Griever pushing into the pits too. Mighty Gox is 13 seconds behind Griever, so should be able to pull into the pits without the worry of the double stack. There he goes. This will be his second stop, so let's see what tires he actually puts on. He makes his way down this pit lane. Looks like the hard tires as well, so it looks like everyone is trying to get all the pit stops out of the way right now. King Alpha also pitting, so that is everyone going onto those hard tires. King Alpha also getting a wing, possibly from that turn 3 incident that we witnessed earlier. Wolf manages to make up a position over King Alpha as he comes through. That wing obviously just delaying the pit stop a little bit too far for King Alpha's liking. Qualitelli Alp as well manages to get through. So King Alpha goes down to 6th. As we stand, we have IMTJ out in front with Griever in 2nd, Mighty Gox in 3rd, Wolf in 4th, Qualitelli in 5th, King Alpha in 6th, Sebi in 7th, and Crunch in 8th. So as we go through the third sector down towards turn 9, this track obviously being as quick as it is always difficult to follow behind the safety cars. The safety car is quite a bit slower than a Formula 1 car. You do end up with quite cold tires. With everyone on hard tires, that will obviously come into play when the safety car comes in, probably at the end of the next lap. Looks like Crunch will catch them at the probably about halfway through this next lap. He will have an advantage as he will have warmer tires. So let's see if he will be able to make that stick. You can see the guys weaving across the track, trying to get some heat into those hard tires. Looks like TJ is actually on the mediums. TJ on the mediums. He is obviously looking to try and push early and then hold position towards the end of the race. Griever obviously would like to make that impossible, and Mighty Gox as well. There is always the possibility of another safety car later on, and I would not be surprised if most of these guys will try and get rid of those hard tires, probably onto the softs, depending on when the safety car occurs. Safety car in this lap, so we will now watch as everyone tries to warm those tires, get them up to temperature and ready for the restart. IMTJ will be the one controlling this restart. See what he can do. Still weaving, getting temperature into those tires. We'll be trying to make sure that their safety car is well out of the way before he goes. There are a couple of places he can go here. With how slow he's going, it does look like he's going to go earlier, and there it looks like he has gone already just before turn 9. Manages to catch everyone else. Oh, that is Griever spinning there. Looks like everyone else appears to be getting through fine. Griever now down to last as IMTJ gets a 2-second gap out at the front. Wolf very hot on Mighty Gox's heels, but Qualitelli right behind him and King Alpha right behind him. Those three seem to have gotten a pretty decent start on each other. Wolf trying to break the toe down to Qualitelli, but let's see what Qualitelli can do into turn 3. Only 3/10 behind, gets nice and close to Wolf there. Will get a decent slipstream down this back straight, but not quite close enough to do anything, especially without that DRS. He is 4/10 behind as Wolf follows Mighty Gox through turn 4 down towards turn 6. So Mighty Gox starting to pull away from Wolf as his tires come into temperature. Qualitelli keeping very close to Wolf. 4/10 behind, 5/10 behind now. Sure, Wolf will be pushing to try and get away from that McLaren. Down into turn 9. Through turn 10, that McLaren takes a good amount of curb on the inside, and that will give him a slightly better exit on Wolf, but Wolf manages to pull away a little bit more. This is very close racing as far as your timings are concerned. Griever now taking Sebi into turn 1. Always a dangerous pass there, but works out for him this time. Sebi now falling back to 5/10 back. Obviously DRS not enabled right now because of the safety car. We'll have to wait 2 laps until DRS is enabled once again. So Crispy Crunch looking at King Alpha while Qualitelli looks at Wolf. Looks like Crispy Crunch is making the move into turn 4. Very close there. King Alpha does well to try and avoid that contact. Does look like he was pushed a little bit wide by Crispy Crunch, but Crispy Crunch looks like he may have backed off to give the position back. Meantime, Qualitelli is still following on Wolf, only 3/10 behind, 2/10 to 2.5 now. So let's see what he can do through 9 and 10. If he can stay that close through 9 and 10, he should manage to get past on the pit straight, especially as DRS is going to be enabled this lap. He may actually want to wait until the first DRS zone, which is obviously up the hill. He will get DRS now. So goes through turn 1, and there is that wing wide open already. So Qualitelli 3/10 behind, getting up towards turn 3. Stays behind, actually going for the move around the outside, but Wolf has managed to get a good exit out of there. So Qualitelli will once again get DRS as they go down. Towards turn 4, very close there, very nice following there by Qualitelli, but unfortunately I'm sure he will not want to be following too much longer. So as we watch these two go through 6, 7 and 8, we have a battle a little bit in the background. King Alpha and Crispy Crunch still quite close to each other. They are pulling and pushing that 1 second gap. As Qualitali goes a little bit wide through 9 there, and a little bit wide through 10 as well. Let's see what he can do down the straight. Up towards turn 1, does not look like he is close enough to try and move, but he is still following so close to that Renault in front of him. As he gets DRS up the hill, only 2 tenths separating them now. Let's see if he tries to move into turn 3 again, goes to the outside once again. Wolf blocking very well there. Looks like there may have been a little bit of contact, but no real issues there. Qualitelli getting a little squarely on the exit, and once again losing time down this back straight, down towards turn 4, which is often seen as the best overtaking opportunity of this track. So Qualitelli might need to be a little bit more patient. Going up that long straight up to the top of the hill, might need to pull back just a little bit, give it a little bit better of an exit, not compromise its exit alongside Wolf. He should get a better run down towards turn 4 where he should be able to make the move stick. So Qualitelli once again under 3 seconds, 3 tenths to his opponent through 10. Into turn 1, he does look like he got a slightly better exit out of there. However, he does not keep far enough behind Wolf to avoid some damage there, and that is going to affect any further overtaking maneuvers that he might try. But he does want to try it through 3 anyway. On the outside, looks like he has managed to get that slightly better exit this time. Less than 2 tenths between him and that Renault, and you can see how close this is as they go down towards turn 4. On the outside once again for Qualitelli. Leaves a good amount of space on the inside, but Wolf definitely gets a good apex there, and through they go once again. Still with Wolf ahead in that Renault, with Qualitelli and the McLaren just behind through 6 and 7, and now they are being joined by Crispy Crunch, who is looking at this and probably very happy to see the fighting going on as he has managed to catch up. And Qualitelli's wing damage, there he goes. Qualitelli into the pits to repair that wing damage, which gives Crispy Crunch an easy overtake. He is now 1.1 second behind Wolf, so he will be looking to close that gap to less than a second, and he has done that already. So into the next DRS detection zone. Let's see if he manages to maintain that gap. Through the detection zone, he is 7 tenths behind, so he should get DRS down this back straight on Wolf. Let's see whether he can make a move or whether he's a little bit too far back. 4 tenths separate them at the moment. I don't think that's going to be close enough this lap, but Crispy Crunch should be able to follow Wolf through these sections. Looks like he's got a very good amount of traction on that car. Wolf obviously already playing a little bit defensive, and you can see it in the lines that he's taking through these corners. He is thinking about the guys behind him. So down towards turn 9, let's see whether Crispy is actually close enough to make a move. 2 tenths separate them as they hit the pit straight. Crispy does look like he managed to get a decent exit out of there, and he is making time on this pit straight. With DRS open, he goes to the outside on turn 1. Wolf makes the corner and makes it difficult for Crispy, cutting him off and defending the line, but that does not mean he's out of the woods yet. Touches the grass a little bit as they go up the hill towards turn 3. Crispy looking at the inside, then switches to the outside as Wolf closes the door on him. Wolf does go wide, however, with the defensive move, manages to keep his position, but not for long, as Crispy will have a better exit out of there. With DRS open down towards turn 4, Wolf is fighting all the way around. Crunch does lock up a little bit as they go through turn 4, through 5. Wolf touching the grass there. Not a good line through 6. And somehow Wolf has managed to keep that position through 7 and 8, but now they come down towards 9. This is not a good passing area. Crispy Crunch having to bide his time as he hits the pit straight. Let's see what he can do this time. He goes around the outside and goes across the finish line ahead this time. Lots of penalties being dished out at the moment. Wolf completely cuts that corner this time and looks like he may have now backed out to give the position to Crispy Crunch. He does get DRS, however, up the straight, up towards turn 3, going to the outside. Let's see what he can do. He goes a little wide there and gets given a time penalty, and also there is some contact between him and Crispy Crunch. Crispy Crunch now gets the DRS on him down towards turn 4. 5/10 separating these two as they trade places and paint. In the meantime, Griever is looking at King Alpha and looking for a way past. 3/10 separate these two, so this is another very close battle as they go through 5 and 6. Mighty Gox now with the fastest lap of 1:06.286, so I wonder if he has started to push to try and reel in IMTJ out in front. So as we go into lap 22 with these two, Wolf and Crispy Crunch are 3/10 apart. Crispy Crunch once again getting a good exit out of 1 with DRS up towards turn 3. Let's see whether he tries an overtaking move. Goes to the inside of Wolf, then decides better of it, gets in behind him. Little bit of contact there again. He is not getting a great exit out of there and does seem to be struggling to leave space on the outside. As they head down towards turn 4, he has lost the advantage there. Let's see what happens with Griever and King Alpha. Griever only 6/10 behind, but that is not close enough to make a move into turn 4. So as things stand, we have IMTJ sitting in first place, 4.7 seconds ahead of the Mighty Gox. Wolf then 20 seconds behind Mighty Gox. Crispy Crunch 4/10 behind the Wolf, and very definitely looking at another move up towards turn 1. King Alpha sitting in 5th place, followed by Griever, less than a second behind. The Qualitali AP is in 7th, 10 seconds behind Griever, and Sebi is 20 seconds behind Qualitali, not having a great race today. Crispy Crunch now 2/10 behind Wolf. Let's see whether he manages to get this exit right and head down towards turn 4. He is 3/10 behind with DRS open. I'm sure he will look at a move, but I'm not sure if he's going to be able to make it stick from this far behind. In the meantime, Griever had for a moment dropped out of the 1 second range, obviously got DRS down that back straight and is back within the 1 second, but he might be biding his time a little bit, recharging his batteries. There are still at least 11, 12 laps to go. So Crispy Crunch, the latest to get another 3-second warning as Wolf goes into the pits. I wonder if he has decided that these hard tires are not worth keeping until the end of the race. So far Crispy Crunch sitting on 14 seconds of penalties. That is definitely going to affect him towards the end of the race, and I can imagine that's why he was pushing as hard as he possibly could against Wolf. Wolf now dropping down into 7th position. With that pit stop, that is not ideal. So IMTJ out in front has no penalties. Mighty Gox has 3. Crispy Crunch sitting with 14 seconds worth of penalties. In the meantime, Griever is looking at a move on King Alpha. Manages to get to the inside, but does not manage to make that move stick. Griever and King Alpha. King Alpha sitting on 6 seconds of penalties. Griever on 3. Griever now getting past King Alpha. Looks like he might be able to keep it through 6 and 7. Gets through 7 and he is now ahead. So he has managed to make that move stick. Colatelli Alp with 3 seconds of penalties. Wolf with 6 seconds of penalties. So those penalties will obviously make a difference towards the end of the race, as people will start trying to reel each other in and get within those penalty windows. IMTJ out in front has had a fairly clean race so far. Hasn't picked up any penalties, just setting those laps as he goes round. So, fastest lap so far, IMTJ with a 106.468 is only 2/10 behind Mighty Gox's 106.286. So definitely setting decent lap times out in front with the clear air. Mighty Gox obviously also running with mostly clear air as far back as he is. 5 seconds back he will definitely be having clear air, although he would likely be wanting to get much closer and actually get within range of his opponent. Crispy Crunch now released from his battle. He is now 25 seconds behind Mighty Gox. He will be trying to push with everything he has to get anywhere near there. Meantime, King Alpha is managing to keep up with Griever. 7/10 behind at the moment as they go into turn 1. Let's see how they do on the exit. King Alpha getting a much better exit than Griever. 5/10 now, 4/10. He is definitely hunting for that pass. He looks at the inside of turn 3. May have committed a little bit early, bounces across that sausage curve. Will have lost a little bit of time on the exit there because of that, and there you can see it, he is already down to up to 7/10, but pulling back the entire time. That DRS particularly strong down that straight. So King Alpha getting another 3-second penalty as he goes a little bit too lean on that curb, and also losing a bunch of time, ending up with 1.5 second gap almost. That is not going to be what he wants to see, and he will be kicking himself for that slightly over enthusiastic turn-in. Up towards turn 3, he looks like he brakes quite nice and late, gets a decent exit there, a little bit squirrely as he puts the power down. He'll be trying to catch up to Griever again and take that position back. IMTJ now pitting. Let's see what he does. Looks like he's going to go onto the soft tires. So he's obviously not feeling like those mediums are working for him anymore. He will now have to try and make up a chunk of time to the Mighty Gox, who is still on those hards, will probably not be pitting before the end of the race. IMTJ taking a very close line to that wall on the pit exit. So let's see what he can do on the soft tires. He will very, very, very likely get the fastest lap, considering his fastest lap previously was only 2/10 behind Mighty Gox there. So let's see what he can do. Oh, that is not the way to treat those soft tires. That will have taken out a couple of moments of life. But with so few laps left, that shouldn't make too much of a difference as IMTJ starts getting those temperatures into those tires. Even with that lockup, he gets the fastest second sector of everyone. Mighty Gox now setting a 105.804, so that was obviously quite a fast lap from the Mighty Gox. Let's see what IMTJ can do as he comes round turn 10 onto the pit straight. Let's ride on board as he tries to hit this fastest lap. So definitely showing that he can do it with the fastest second and third sectors. He takes turn 1 nicely, very smooth through there. Pushes his way up the hill towards turn 3. Brakes hard into turn 3, a little bit of lockup on the front right. Waits a long time to get going, but does give him a good line out of that corner. You can see his ERS is very close to finished. As he goes into turn 4, massive lockup there. That is not what you want to do when you're trying to set a fast lap, but he keeps going into 6. Another lockup there on the left hand side this time. Pushes into 7. Doesn't take too much curb on the exit. has set a fastest second sector of everyone, so let's see what he can do as he throws himself into 9, a little bit slidey on the entrance there, into 10, lots of curve on the exit for 10, and he will get the fastest lap with a 1:05.305. So that is 5/10 faster than the mighty Gox. So let's see what Gox does if he decides to come in. Will he sacrifice that position, or will he keep it and just go for the race win? The fastest lap is of course only 1 point, and the race win puts you 7 points ahead of your opponent. So I do not think that Mighty Gox will sacrifice that unless he can pull a 20 plus second gap before the end of the race in which to pit. That is very unlikely with only 6 laps left. It is more likely that IMTJ will continue to catch him, but I doubt it will be at more than 2 seconds a lap, which was what IMTJ would have been needed to do to be able to get where he needs to go. King Alpha now causing a yellow flag coming out of turn 3. That looks like wing damage, unfortunately on the right hand side at the very least, so that will likely necessitate him popping into the pits. It will not be enough for Sebi to manage to catch up to him, but that is unfortunate for King Alpha as he was fighting with Griever up in 4th place. He will be kicking himself for that loss of control, or whether if it was contact that would be even worse. So in the meantime, Wolf has managed to catch within a second of Qualitelli. Let's see if he manages to reel him in a little bit further. Does not look like he got DRS on that particular occasion as they go down the pit straight through the next DRS zone, and he may have just made it, so we'll watch his wing, and there it goes. His wing is now open as he starts chasing down the McLaren of Qualitelli. Up towards turn 3, both of them managed to get through there without too much of an issue, no real squirrely exits, so this should be good for Wolf as he now is within 5/10 of a second of the McLaren. Through turn 4, now he'll just have to hold station through 5, 6, 7 and 8, possibly look at 9 to get as close as possible, nail it through 10, and if he manages to get onto that pit straight within probably about 4/10 of a second, he will definitely be looking at a move down the inside or into turn 1. So let's see what he can do here as they go round 9 and through 10. They are actually only 3/10 behind Griever as well, so this is a 3-way battle for 4th, 5th and 6th. Qualitelli looks at a move down the inside of turn 1 that is going to compromise both exits of Qualitelli and Griever. Griever loses the position and Wolf takes advantage of that little battle there. He gets that position quite easily up into turn 3. Wolf looks at the inside of the McLaren, lots of contact there, and Wolf goes into the wall. That is his wing completely gone. So that looked like Qualitelli and Griever coming up on the other Renault of Sebi, and Sebi not quite having anywhere to go where he could get out of the way properly there, causing a little bit of contact between the 3 of them, and that is the end of Wolf's battle for 4th and 5th. However, Griever and Qualitelli are still within a couple of seconds of each other. It does not look like either of them got any damage from that incident, so let's see what they can do going into these last couple of laps. So, Wolf with his wing damage does not look like he's lost his entire wing, but is going into the pits to get that replaced. So let's see if King Alpha can get past him. He does look like he is close enough to make a play for that. King Alpha will be pushing as hard as he can to get onto that pit straight and past Wolf's pit box as soon as possible. Onto the pit straight he goes. Wolf is just starting to move now, so this will probably be a loss, another loss of position for Wolf after that incident at turn 3. In the meantime, Griever has managed to catch up to Crispy Crunch. Where did Crispy come from? Looks like Crispy may have had some sort of incident which has allowed him to let Qualitelli and Griever get past. Let's see if he pushes. No, it does not seem to be pushing into the pit, so not necessarily an incident that's caused any sort of damage. Maybe may have cooked his tires, and so he has had to give up a couple of positions. We'll probably be hoping to make up that position and stay within a second of Griever, who he's had to let through. So Crispy now 8/10 behind Griever and pushing hard. Does not get DRS up this straight. It will definitely get it onto the back straight. Out of turn 3 he goes, gets a decent exit, 6/10 behind his opponent. There's the DRS. Probably won't dump too much this lap to try and get past, but should wait until the next lap where he should be quite a bit closer. So into the third sector, Crispy is now 5/10 behind, 6/10 behind, falling a little bit back through that windy second sector, which is difficult to follow through into turns 9 and 10. 8/10 behind. He will not be happy with that gap and does start making it up as they go onto the pit straight. Now 7/10 behind. Will get DRS open there down towards turn 1. Through turn 1 he gets to 5/10, 4/10. Heading up towards turn 3, I don't think he's going to want to try up to turn 3. Oh, and he does though, to the inside, thinks better of it. Looks like he's going to try and get a good exit out of turn 3. Gets a little bit squarely on the exit and loses a 10th. However, he does have the DRS, so he is going to be pushing as hard as he can. Wolf now getting the fastest lap with a 1:05.290, obviously on newer tires than anyone else after that late pit stop. So he will salvage a point with that. In the meantime, Crispy Crunch is looking at the back of Griever, 2/10 behind as Mighty Gox has gone onto the final lap. So these guys are actually the last guys on the lead lap, 4th and 5th, so they will get one more lap to fight it out after this one. Crispy Crunch 2/10 behind as Wolf and King Alpha start trading places through turn 4. Crunch less than 2/10 separate them. Looking at the inside, let's see if they get through cleanly. Crispy Crunch taking a little bit too much of the curb on the inside there. May have been told by the game to give back the position. Looks like Wolf has gone off at 6 in his fight with King Alpha. That's unfortunate. As Crispy Crunch and Griever go into turn 3 for the last time. Crunch getting a poorer exit than Griever, losing a lot of time. Will not be happy with that and definitely will not be getting through into turn 4. So will he go for a last ditch effort down towards the end of the race into the sector 3 somewhere? Does not look like he's close enough, and honestly doesn't look like he's pushing as hard as he has been. So maybe he has accepted this position, although he is within 5/10. 4/10 going into turn 9. It's not unheard of. It is a... Oh no, that is not how you do it. Unfortunately, Crispy Crunch loses it through 9, and that will be the end of his fight with Griever. So Wolf crosses the line, Crispy Crunch the last to cross the line. That brings us to the end of today's race. Lots of action on track, lots of contact unfortunately, but it did definitely lead to an interesting race as Sebi takes driver of the day. So the podium there, Mighty Gox, followed by IMTJ, and then one of the McLarens. Let's see who that was. Qualitelli Alp in 3rd place. Griever in 4th, Crispy Crunch in 5th after his epic battle with Griever. King Alpha in 6th and Wolf in 7th. Their contact, or their battle will probably be the subject of some discussion. Sebi in 8th, Jarvis in 9th, and D2A1 in 10th. Those last two, unfortunately, DNFs. So, thank you for joining us, everyone, and it's been a pleasure to be your host. We hope to see you next time.